In modern video games, fantasy novels, and internet conspiracies, the Nephilim are portrayed as monolithic titans. They are the supernatural offspring born from a union between fallen angels and mortal women. That vivid imagery finds very little support in the original Hebrew Bible. The word Nephilim appears explicitly in only 2 brief passages, once in Genesis chapter 6 and once in Numbers chapter 13. Genesis 6 states that the sons of God and the daughters of men had children, calling these offspring the mighty men of old, men of renown. The text omits any mention of magic, monstrosity, or towering height. This creates a massive discrepancy. The original text offers a near-total vacuum of detail, yet spawned a global mythology of ancient giants. That towering identity grew out of a centuries-long game of linguistic telephone. The investigation begins with the original Hebrew root word, NPL. Morphologically, NPL translates to the verb to fall. Used as a noun, it means the fallen ones. In the context of the ancient Near East, historical linguists suggest the fallen ones referred to elite Canaanite warriors, mortal men who fell in battle. These men lived in a landscape of massive cyclopean stones. To nomadic tribes arriving in the region, walls 18 feet thick and heavy megalithic tombs suggested an imposing, powerful local population. The fear those structures inspired easily fed into local lore about mighty men, but in this earliest iteration, the Nephilim lacked any supernatural origin. The biological mutation happened centuries later. Between the 3rd and 2nd centuries BC, scholars in Alexandria began translating the Hebrew Bible into Greek, creating a text known as the Septuagint. When translators reached Genesis 6, they chose a Greek equivalent for the Hebrew Nephilim, gigantes. To a Hellenistic audience, the gigantes were figures from Greek mythology, beings of chaotic strength with a mixed divine and human identity, carrying a heavy supernatural association. Swapping a literal Hebrew verb for a mythological Greek noun laid a trap for later scholars. Later Latin translations adopted the Greek context, interpreting the Nephilim as literal physical giants. During the Second Temple period, ancient Jewish writers took that translation ambiguity and expanded it. Texts like the Book of Enoch turned the sparse verses in Genesis into epic lore. Enoch rewrites the sons of God as watchers, a rebel sect of angels who descend to earth to mate with human women. The offspring of this union received extreme physical attributes. In some manuscript traditions of Enoch, these hybrids grow to be 450 feet tall, with a wickedness that triggers Noah's flood. This caused severe theological panic. Orthodox Jewish rabbis and early Christian leaders like St. Augustine argued that angels do not reproduce, insisting the Nephilim were just the human offspring of the righteous line of Seth and the cursed line of Cain. Despite these institutional protests, the terrifying myth of the angel-spawned giant was too entertaining to kill, and it remained permanently embedded in the cultural imagination. By the Middle Ages, the Nephilim myth escaped the pages of Scripture to become a tool for explaining the physical world. In 1705, Puritan minister Cotton Mather examined massive excavated bonds found near Albany. He declared them proof that antediluvian Nephilim perished in a great flood. Mather was actually looking at a mastodon. Paleontology later proved these fossil beds belonged to extinct mammoths, not humanoid giants. That cultural desire to find giants remained so entrenched that it primed the 19th century public for archaeological hoaxes, such as the 10-foot-tall Cardiff giant. From a vague Hebrew phrase describing fallen human warriors, the Nephilim evolved into a global myth. When an ancient text leaves a vacuum of detail, humanity fills that blank canvas with our need to project epic mythologies onto the unknown.